Do Jehovah's Witnesses respect freedom of religion? Short answer, no, they do not. Let me explain why. First of all, what is freedom of religion? Everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right includes freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom, either alone or in community with others, and in public or private, to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. Freedom of religion includes the freedom to believe what you believe, even if it's not of a religious nature. It's basically also freedom of thought, which means people have the freedom to change their belief system if they choose. Freedom of religion and freedom of thought are fundamental human rights, and everybody deserves the freedom for those things. This also ties in with freedom of speech. What's freedom of speech? Freedom of speech is the right to state one's opinions and ideas without being stopped or punished. Sometimes this is also called freedom of expression. Freedom of speech may include freedom of the press and freedom of information. So my message to Jehovah's Witnesses is this. You have the freedom to preach to people about your beliefs. That's what you're exercising, your freedom of religion and your freedom of speech. Whenever you go door to door, you knock on people's doors at their houses while they're just sitting in their homes, and you interrupt their day to try to preach to them about your beliefs. When you do that, you're exercising your freedom of religion and your freedom of speech. If you can have the right to preach, why are you trying to deny apostates like me the freedom of speech to share our wisdom and our knowledge? I should be able to have the same freedom of speech as you to share my thoughts. Don't you agree? And before you try to say anything like I'm just spreading lies, that's just your opinion. I am simply sharing my experience of what it was like for me as a Jehovah's Witness, why I no longer want to be a Jehovah's Witness, and what exactly it is that makes me not want to be a Jehovah's Witness anymore. And I think that people should have access to information like that. It's not really fair to only give one side of a story. Whenever you try to preach to people that you have the one true religion and you try to squash anybody that disagrees with your opinion about those beliefs, you're not allowing people to have the full picture. For people to make a truly informed decision on whether or not they want to become a Jehovah's Witness, they should be allowed to have the access to information from Jehovah's Witnesses and former Jehovah's Witnesses. They should be able to have both sides of the story. What does freedom of religion entail? In many countries like the US, it's a constitutional right. That means you can change your religion, you can speak out about your beliefs, the government can't force you to follow a specific religion or punish you for your beliefs. It also means religious groups can exist and gather freely, but they're not above the law. So if a religion is doing something harmful, like hiding abuse, freedom of religion does not protect that. Interesting. Okay, moving on to our final question of the video. How do Jehovah's Witnesses demonstrate their lack of respect for an individual's freedom of religion and freedom of speech? I thought it would be fun to use some articles from the Jehovah's Witnesses' own website to prove how disrespectful and hateful that they are to people that don't believe the Jehovah's Witness beliefs anymore. Let's start off by finding out, well, what kind of stuff other than the word apostate do Jehovah's Witnesses call people that don't believe in their beliefs anymore? Let's see, shall we? Directly from an article from their website, jw.org. Such ones willfully abandoning the Christian congregation thereby become part of the Antichrist. Oh, and let's not forget that this doesn't just refer to people that don't believe in God anymore. This also refers to people that do believe in God. They just don't want to be a Jehovah's Witness anymore. Those people are referred to as the Antichrist by Jehovah's Witnesses. Let's see what other kind of hateful language that Jehovah's Witnesses are taught to use towards people that don't want to be a part of their religion anymore. This says, what's the tragic outcome for those who abandon true worship? It says, Peter said they're like the dog that returns to its vomit and the bathed sow that turns back to wallowing in the mire. Interesting. Would you say language like that promotes a sense of autonomy and freedom of thought? Because I would say it kind of creates a little bit of a us versus them mentality, which is a classic sign of a cult. Okay, and now I want to mention, what does the Jehovah's Witness literature say about whether or not we should spend time with people that no longer want to be Jehovah's Witnesses? This includes people that simply don't want to go to the kingdom hall anymore. This is not just people that are speaking out, because there are people that want to spend time with their families, but they simply don't want to be a part of their religion anymore. And they don't even, there's even some that don't even speak out. But because they don't believe in their religion anymore, they're still regarded as apostates. And let's read an article from jw.org that says how Jehovah's Witnesses are trained to treat somebody who no longer wants to be a Jehovah's Witness. It says, avoid them, quit mixing in company with them, never receive them into your homes or say a greeting to them. And then it even says, if out of curiosity we were to read the literature of a known apostate, would that not be the same as inviting this enemy of true worship right into our home to sit down with us and relate his apostate ideas? Do you really think language like that is showing respect for an individual's right to practice their freedom of thought, their freedom of religion, their freedom of speech? No, because it's telling Jehovah's Witness family members, you can't spend time with these people. It's saying, don't even receive them in your homes. That's disgusting. And you're going to tell me Jehovah's Witnesses don't tear families apart? I don't know what to tell you. But I do have to say this. They have something for everything. Jehovah's Witnesses, they have a way of controlling people mentally in every way possible when it comes to trying to keep them from associating with anybody that doesn't believe in their religion, especially ones that were raised in it and choose to leave. So, of course, we have victim blaming from their website. You know, even though their religion is the one that casts people out and shuns them, who do they blame for that? Who's at fault over family problems that disfellowshipping may cause? You know they're going to blame the disfellowship person. So, let's read it, shall we? The conduct of the wrongdoer has changed his relationship with Jehovah, therefore with family members who are Jehovah's Witnesses. God is not to blame for these results because his standards are righteous and just, nor does the fault rest with the faithful Christian relatives. It's the disfellowship person who's made problems for himself and for his relatives. So, I really try. I'm getting a little heated because this is something I'm passionate about, but I really try to be empathetic with Jehovah's Witnesses and anybody that's in a cult, because I know how indoctrinated they are with this BS, okay? I get it. But I'm looking at it and I'm just thinking, victim blame, victim blame, victim blame, because they literally sit here and do this terrible thing to somebody, and then they say, well, it's your fault that we're abusing you. It's your fault that we're shunning you. Oh, and it was God's idea. BS. And I will be making a video on why shunning is not actually biblical.